nothing like that. Okay, I will give you free internship, then maybe there will be some kind of path to it. No, nothing like that. So how can we solve it, like we solve this situation or do something about it? So about that, Priyanka will come and talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Naziba. Hi, everyone. So, as we know what the crucial thing here is and what exactly we are dealing with, so we have a research plan, and we have done some primary research and secondary research to get to a conclusion and to just note down what we can do to solve this issue and in which areas. So for primary research, we have interviewed some students who have passed out from the university and who are working now, and the present students as well. And secondary research, we have gone through some research papers on this issue and collected some data about the people who have already passed out and where they are working today, what is their current situation. After doing this research, we have concluded something, and we are here with the solution which we can get through the universities or colleges where students educate themselves. So the first solution, just to have more guidance for getting into a company and getting into a job for the industry experience. I think the first solution is to give internship, that is compulsory internship, to every student who does a degree in that sector. So this will help them a lot, because within the studies they will know how the New Zealand industry works and how the culture is and what they can do next to upgrade their skills on a practical basis as well. The second thing is skill development workshop. Now that when we go on Seek or Indeed, when we search for a job, there is a list of skills. But most of the times, like it's not compulsory for every course, but there are courses which are more on a theoretical side. But there are practical skills needed for those industry where they need some practical skill as well to get a job. So if an institute gives a workshop, like skill development workshop, once a week, just for 1 or 2 hours, it will be helpful for every student. And the third, I think, to have a recruitment department for specifically for international students. Example, Work Connect. It's an I think government agency which helps students to get into industry. But if they have this department in college or institute, it will be more beneficial for the students. And yeah, and there is one more thing, that is collecting alumni who have already passed out. So, I mean, there you can use an app or like any way to connect to the alumni. I know everyone is busy here in New Zealand and nobody has time to have a get together. But even if they can help online, through online, they can connect with the present student and they can guide about the present market and the situation, and that will be very, very helpful as well. And the last but not the least is campus placement. I have not seen here, but it does work wonders for students, because if a company comes to an institute and they conduct interview, there are so many people who just don't have to struggle after passing out. They get the job then and there. So that is one big thing. I think yeah, he will conclude the presentation. Thank you.
Questions? I'll do the Q&A part. Any questions? Any comments? Anything? What are you seeing that we're not seeing? What can we focus on? What can we explore a little bit more?
So the internship opportunity, how do you think the university should help?
Pardon?
The internship opportunity for 3 months,
Yeah.
how are you proposing the university help?
How do we propose the university help? So the university does help at our current program. It is an elective that you can select if you want to do an internship program. So the university does that already. And things like that. So does that answer your question?
So that's what I'm asking. That's already done by university. So what exactly are you proposing? Like,
It's like a compulsory internship. This is like elective, which they are providing. But if they provide internship to every student, I mean, if they have like 3 companies, they can contact 3 companies and they can distribute the people to go. Okay, 10 people can do internship in this company, 10 can do in this one, 10 can do in this one. So they are sending their students to those companies for internship, so that they will get more guidance. They will know what they are doing.
That's what I was asking, because we have an option to take an internship, but because getting an internship in a organization is not easy. So that's a restricting factor for many students to take up that. Even we have to pay money to get an internship in an organization. So if like it is a compulsory, what are the steps that the university as such can take?
We're going to stop because obviously we haven't dialed in down there, but I think we're going to chat to you about the comment that you've just made about how you have to pay for an internship, which you shouldn't be doing as a student or any person regarding an internship or anything. So I think we'll rather touch base with you to kind of understand and unpack what you have experienced potential or heard of, so we can develop this further, so we can bring in those restrictive measures. This is a holistic want list. I think part of our 4-week journey now is to kind of focus in and fine tune and kind of pick up on issues and things like that. So if you're cool with that, we'll do it that way. Oh, any else? Yeah, Beth? Sorry.
Yeah, I was interested in brainstorming. The first slide,
Brain dump, yeah.
which indicates that you've done a lot of work together as a team to think through some of the aspects of this interrogation and then the research following it. And I would say that if you're going to present that, it would be useful to put that up very briefly and then put it into slides, or a slide if you can, maybe a couple of slides, so that it's easier to read. It's good to see that you've taken notes and contributed, especially for your professor, that there's
of the different steps that they can take in their journey, like an internship. It is advised that you do an internship, network to get some New Zealand experience. Getting a job in any country, in any part of the world, is not a guarantee. So we can't guarantee that either. So all we want to do is help people, a resource pack, if anything, a website, a resource pack, some sort of engagement of how to help and guide people and protect people from them being scammed. Because like you said, 80% of people come here, or 80% of international students can't become residents, but the hope out of 100% of those students is that I can find work, that I can live in New Zealand, that I can translate in that. All of us do it, most, especially international students.
No, I get that you can't change it. I think you could still do like some
Yeah,
design
yeah.
courses and say, hey, our team can help in this area here, and that's where we're going to focus. I think that would be useful for me. Yeah.
One of the questions that we had in our brain dump was starting at that, I want to study again.
Yeah.
I saw an ad for that, and what kind of intrigued you? So it's really taking the journey back to India, for instance, because I think for some of the research that we found and some of the articles and commentary has come from the Indian community. So we're going to work from that point and answer exactly that question of where it started, right at the beginning, and then journey through. So yes. Yes, Beth.
So the problem that you're addressing is wide, and the but you're narrowing it down to what can be done. Now, I just need to understand this. So, based on your question, which was a great question, I now understand better as well what that process is that you go through as an international student to get into a program like this, right? So there's a question mark in my mind. Are you actually addressing what happens before New Zealand, before you get to New Zealand as well? Is that part of your evaluation? And if not, maybe just a slide to say, this is what we have to go through.
Yes.
So if you're not including that pre-New Zealand arrival process in your solution, then you can just reference it. So that I agree. I didn't know that it was that complicated.
No.
Yeah. So maybe just a single process map to show what you have to do, because not many people really know that if they live here and haven't gone through it. So for your presentation, it would be useful to have that insight for the people listening. The second thing is that in your presentation, you need to have you're going to be talking to a dragon's den. So you need to have a call to action, right? So in other words, you're doing an analysis that you then say, this is what we are proposing.
This is what we want Unitech to do to support the international students.
Yeah. So I would suggest you put that in a statement. So you've got the list of items there. One of the questions, of course, is, as pointed out earlier, is it viable? Is your solution viable in Unitech's system, right? So that's a question you have to ask. You have to ask that, all right? It's an unknown. And you need to state that you do not know if it's viable. Okay? So these are recommendations, but you don't know well enough about the politics, the scenarios inside Unitech that may have been decided upon, decisions that have been made that would have to be overcome, because there's governance, there's all sorts of things they have to apply against that NZQA process they have to adhere to. Yep. So you can state in your statement that you're not sure, but this would be a recommendation you would like to make, but you're not sure if it's viable. Yeah. That's what I'd recommend. Just add that in. Yep.
Yeah. Good phrase from there. Calls to action. Call to action. So that's probably useful to have a slide. Call to action. What we want you, the dragons, to do, or at least your clients. So we're perhaps confusing there's two sorts of dragons. There's those that are investing resources in promoting, developing your idea, but some of you will have real clients. We've got West Glen and we've got EcoQuest as real clients. Some of you are attacking a wicked problem. You thought it was that group was going to be your client, but it's kind of moving along. You're discovering, well, actually this could be the agency, unit, the department within Unitech or wherever that's going to do something about this.
Yeah, so for the purpose, let me just clarify, for the purpose of the Dragon's Den, you want to act as if there is a next step,
Yeah.
right? So you're actually acting as if there is a next step, even though there isn't. There's not going to be a next step because the class finishes, right? So, but you want to make it as real as possible. I remember seeing a presentation that was given by one of my cohorts in the master's program. Everyone in the room thought that they were actually asking for investment, and there were people in the room that actually went up to them afterwards and said, "I'm investing."
Oh, that's right. They were real dragons. They had real money. It was, what was it? Was that the paint?
I don't remember which one.
It was paint. It was paint for the road markings.
Yeah.
They had come up with the story that they had invented a better, more durable paint for road markings, and they'd invented a machine for applying this paint. Yeah. And they had pictures of how they had tested this paint. They'd sneaked out at the middle of the night, painting this stuff.
Yeah. It worked. It was really, really real.
And it had
Really
these real dragons all set to put in money, and the whole story was bullshit. It was all a fabricated story, as I think that Oxbridge one is.
This is a comment, I think. So she talked about the connecting alumni. So when our orientation happened, that day someone just told us that we are going to have a LinkedIn alumni, because LinkedIn is the biggest professional site, the social media now. But if we can, like, we know her, and now we know that she is a previous student from the design thinking. So each class, like the teacher, if he or she gives us, or the institute gives us each class alumni from LinkedIn or something like that, then maybe we can show our work, or maybe I have some potential, but how do I know, how do I show people? So if we have this kind of alumni, like I tried to find this kind of alumni in LinkedIn, but I could not find it. I heard that Unitech has this alumni, but I don't know where it is. So how can I show? It is a connection. Then I actually don't know how to build the connection to the people. So if someone gives us this kind of alumni from LinkedIn or from the other social media platform, maybe it could help us, because the ultimate goal, I think, to get a job and to get PR as your perspective. So maybe it can help, because without showing our potentiality, we cannot get the job. So it can be a call to action, maybe, that you told. Maybe it can be action.
About this, that if I want to elaborate, that if teachers can help us to get like guest alumni, like Peter did with you, with other teachers as well, that we are gonna have a guest alumni today. If you guys have any questions, any interest to ask, you can ask. Even if we are connected later on, we can pass down maybe our CV or resumes to get afterwards recommendation that do you think you can help us with you, like if anything in your company, if there's any vacancy or if there's any free workshop or something like that. So the reason is, even if we know someone in LinkedIn, Unitech alumni, even if we know them, obviously they don't know us. But if a teacher refers us, like connect us all, that is different. Like yesterday when I was in our last presentation, we were saying that why some of us couldn't get company, what do you call it? Sorry,
Internship?
Not internship. Like, so our case study is like, we talk with the companies that do you want us to do a case study with your company, but they don't give us that much importance. But what if universities can help us with that as well? That is it okay if our students do this with your company? If it comes with like Unitech something, obviously they will give importance. Oh, okay, we can think about it. So it's just, like you said, I actually had one question as well, that you said that make it real even though that is not the solution. So we are coming up with this recommendation. So do you think it's kind of same like what you are thinking, or it's different?
No, you are putting that up, but I think the alumni, you have a very simple description of what that might be. So in this case, you now have more feedback on one possible solution, which is to do something with LinkedIn. And so in the making it more real, would be to specify a LinkedIn group that could be made available of participants who previously alumni graduated, who would be offering to participate in that group online at LinkedIn, that would be set up by Unitech, and that students could come in. You know, that's just one. You could just add a little bit more detail there. That's really a good idea. Yeah.
Sorry, that was.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Any comment, please?
I have one more question.
Yes.
Sorry. About the same thing, like we are reading the design thinking. We are talking about design thinking. We are trying to make a design thinking process for a company. So why not for us? Why not for our career? Why not for a LinkedIn profile? So if anybody gives us a little bit more overview how to create your personality or how to create your page to attract more employer, it could be help, because we are learning so many things, but how I can apply this to real world.
Story of the girl at the beginning.
Yeah.
So perhaps you could add a story around the girl who succeeded as an example, so that you could get that information. It's a real thing. You could put it in as an example of what would be viable. Because at the beginning you go, oh, I feel so sorry for that poor girl. She didn't, succeed in her dream. You'd like to see some success, so maybe show a successful result.
We will do some graphical representation after we come up with more interviews. We will define it like 80% people didn't get a job, but 20% people are successful and they are working in their
That's beautiful.
But institutes can help us to get a little bit more technological support or the
Yes.
training or something.
Yeah, that's
So-
I mentioned like
Yeah.
skill workshop.
Yeah, so it will be helpful.
Yeah.
For especially for international, because
Mm.
we have different backgrounds.
Yeah, and how many people in the room are international students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Is it 9? Are you an international student?
Yes.
10. So 11. So, what wonderful experience you have to advise on this. You could suggest setting up an advisory council for the Unitech people who are concerned about this. You just need to find who they are. Who are those people at Unitech who are concerned about it? So, Peter, maybe we can help. But you could have an advisory group. Look at 11 people in your class. You've got that experience.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very passionately felt and valid issue.
Yeah.
And I just want to point, as you saw in the client brief to clients, okay, the project ends, within a week or so of you delivering the Dragon's Den, delivering the final report, delivering your reflective essay. The course ends.
Yeah.
But
But
the project does not necessarily stop. You hopefully, through the call to action, you have you brought some fish or dragons in to the den, and they will say, yeah, we want you to keep rolling with this
Yeah.
project. Yeah.
very good. I think that you've got a great start.
Yeah.
I agree. So if I were a dragon in the Dragon's Den, what would you be asking me to do now? What's my call to action? If say I'm from Unitech, and I'm in the Dragon's Den, I'm a dragon in the Dragon's Den, and I'm from Unitech, what would you be asking for?
Ask you for opportunity for campus placement.
So-
Just in a whole thing at one.
So you're asking me to take a decision on a campus placement?
No. Like for
Okay.
example,
Where's the
you
mic?
can say
Oh, yeah.
that for example, if you could arrange campus placement option for the students, then after our graduation, companies can come to our uni. They can do interviews. If they think that we are good enough, then we can get hired.
Okay, so
So yeah.
let's look at it from is that viable perspective, right? So in terms of making this real, we are at Unitech and there is this issue and there is a possibility of making this real. And I know because I'm an international student, I didn't go through your process though.
I'm through a process. I'm an international student before. Then I get a accounting job. Me and my husband, we are both international. We worked 2 years for the accounting job. We got the permanent resident visa.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. But, you know, I mean, it is, sorry, what were you saying?
I think you suggested, you gave us that idea to set up a community who will look after these issues and develop a process in these
Yeah.
5 points. That will be a very good thing. Like, I don't know, because everyone is having different department, everyone is working differently.
Yeah.
So they all are busy. So maybe setting up a new committee who will look after these issues is a better idea.
Yeah, I think there's an ideal scenario here, you know, really. It is, if Unitech does have an opportunity to do something with this idea, it would benefit Unitech. So you might actually, you know, I mean, in reality, you're in the program and ultimately you'd benefit if Unitech did do something, right? Even if it's just the LinkedIn community, which was that great idea. But also there's a benefit to Unitech. What's the benefit to Unitech?
Because there are more positive results. So when you market your, when they will market, or else they are doing a different topic. So for enrollment, you will get more and more students, and
Yeah.
the
So let's
university
look at it
will
this
go.
way. You are an experienced group who now have thought about this problem. You would like to participate after you graduate. So, if you can't get an alumni group together through Unitech's effort, you can offer to be the alumni group. Now, all right, okay, right? Yeah. You are the alumni group with this experience, right? Okay, now, what other university, Unitech isn't in a university yet, but what other higher ed organization has that? An alumni group with your level of experience from all the different origins, right? I'd be participating. I certainly would. So you can offer that, right? In reality, you can offer it. Would you be willing to do it? Well, let me tell you why you would be willing to do it. Because New Zealand is a high volunteer country. People volunteer here, largely. They volunteer in all sorts of ways, and they value people who volunteer their time. So first of all, by volunteering your time to help others, that will be very highly recognized. So contribution like that makes a difference for others. They love that here, right? That's what this whole country is about. So if you offer to do something for others that are in your situation, it doesn't look as much like we have to make a decision now, right? The person who's sitting in the room who's from Unitech doesn't have to make a decision right now and do it right now to serve your group only, or this cohort only, or this semester only. It's going to be ongoing because you'll be involved, right? And you're going to make sure it's ongoing. Maybe it's just to have the Unitech LinkedIn advisory group, international advisory group, that they have one person participate in from the Unitech HR department. We don't know who it will be. That just keeps an eye on it. I don't know. You know, to me it seems like a really good idea. And it's a matter of, well, does Unitech take it seriously? So you could ask, we'd like you to take us seriously. We'd like to get involved. We'd like to set up an advisory group that allows us to advise and assist in an international community group on LinkedIn or on a community platform. Can you set that up for us so that we can join together and help others with this process? You know, because it's better to have them in the social community saying great things that Unitech is trying to support these things than having people say, oh, it's terrible, I've had this terrible experience, whether it's because of Unitech or not, it's heartening to know that there is someone that we can talk to who's had the experience and understands how to advise, and that would be us, right? I see looks at me like I'm crazy. So it's kind of like, well, why not?
Yeah. So there's,
yes.
right.
I'm just a bit confused with the call to action thing. I don't really understand how it's different to just asking the dragons to implement the solutions that we've suggested in the presentation.
Oh, that is exactly what a call to action is. A different call to action to asking them to implement it. The call to action might be, we need a decision on whether this idea is valid and usable, or we need a decision for you to go forward and evaluate this further.
So just putting them on the spot and say...
Yeah, we'd like you to consider this, is a nice way of putting it. We would be happy to present this to your next board meeting or whatever it is that they might use as a means to get the ideas that you've put forward through to other members of the organization. It might be even an advisory group. But, from the perspective of knowing what's viable, it's, if you actually have real business, a real organization that you're talking to, you could ask them, what is the group that this idea could be put forward to in your organization to be considered? That's what you could ask them. We'd like to know, what is the group that this idea could be put forward to in your organization to be considered and discussed? Because even if they never take it forward, you can always say, yes, that idea that we worked on has been considered and discussed in the right forum in that organization. You put the effort in. You want it to be at least discussed. And that's what happens in so many businesses. So many businesses will put effort in, hire even consultants in, to do some work, and then because they don't have the continued mandate to take it into another group that will make a decision to evaluate, it doesn't go anywhere. It's lost. So, this is really taking your hard work in the design element a little bit step further for consultation or discussion. That's a big ask. They may just say, oh, that's nice, the students did this. We'd like to say goodbye and walk out the door and never have anything to do with it again. We've put our effort in, right? What you're asking is, we'd like to take it a little further after the course and hear back from you that it was discussed at your community meeting or your forum or your management meeting. And hear what, because you put the effort in, wouldn't it be nice to hear what they say? That would be kind of how I see it. I don't know, what do you think, Peter?
Right, yes, good, fine.
Is it viable?
Thank you so much, Beth.
Yeah, thank you.